Hello, hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Welcome back to another episode of KimUnity Soulutions Podcast, where we create conversations that empower, inspire, and collectively produce unifying solutions at the human level. At the human level. I am your host, Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experience. Today, we're going to be talking about professional connections. I know in a previous episode, I touched on personal connections and how that is important. And sometimes we need to disconnect. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about professional connections, connections that we make in the workplace. Do you feel they are important? Are they important to you? What I have found that being in the workplace, yes, connections are very important. If you are trying to advance in your career, if you're trying to go to another level or be considered for promotions within that organization or taken with someone else as they leave, connections are important. Now, as a college student entering the workforce, entering corporate America, I had no knowledge of that. I always thought that you could just go into work, excel, do your best, say hi and bye, give your greetings, your salutations, and then go home. But that's not how you grow. That's not how people are able to identify you and see you and match your face with that work that you've done. And so, yes, connections, whether we like it or not, in the professional environment is very necessary. It's very necessary. How do you feel about that? Which one are you? Are you comfortable? Do you enjoy the connections in your workplace? Or is it something that you stay away from? For those of us who have considered ourselves introverts, yes, that's something that we do want to stay away from. We want to just be able to have our space. That's our comfort zone. And that's how we're more productive. And stepping outside of that, it brings unnecessary, unnecessary thoughts, demeanors, actions. It puts us into a uncomfortable position. And who wants to work like that? Well, the good news is that there are connections with boundaries. Like, you can be connected in the workplace and still have boundaries. And so that's what I want to talk to you all today. Professional connections are important. Some of us have attempted to have connections in the workplace and they didn't go well. So we have created these barriers that prevents that stops that in its tracks. Those boundaries can get blurry sometimes. And if you have been hurt before, if you have gotten too close to someone who has burnt you or it didn't go well, then your next experience, you're going to do what you have to do to prevent that, which means that you're going to put up these walls, you're going to put up these boundaries, just like in a personal setting, right? Once you've been hurt in any type of relationship, you're going to put up those walls. And so that's also what happens in the professional environment. And what we have to understand is that we do have the capacity to still have those connections and create boundaries. And those boundaries come from understanding. That's the bottom line. You have to have understanding. One side has to understand the other. So if you work in a certain way, if you are comfortable working in a certain way, it's important that you're able to vocalize that. If you don't feel comfortable vocalizing that, then that's a whole nother discussion. That's why you're unable to connect. This doesn't just apply to introverts. There's some people who love to talk about their personal experiences at work. They love to talk about their weekends. They love to talk about, what happened at home that weekend where others aren't. So creating those boundaries, you can allow someone to share their stories, but for them to you also have to allow space and communicate so that there's understanding of that you don't share that information. Because you're trying to create these boundaries of only professional, only the professional aspect of it. Connections are important. Connections don't require you to go to happy hour all the time. Unfortunately, yes, you do need to show your face. So like I said, it's an uncomfortable space for some of us. But inside the workplace, if we just had understanding of how everybody operates, then it wouldn't be a problem with you not going to the social hour. Or maybe you can't because you have children. See, these are things that all have to be taken into consideration. But these connections are very important because you need that support. You need someone that's going to back you. And when I'm saying connections, it could be peer-to-peer. It could be your frontline workers to their team lead or management or those that are higher up. These connections are important. When you are working and you come across an issue, a challenge, it's important that you have that connection to where you are comfortable bringing that issue up, bringing that challenge up, and having a clear conversation of what the options are. And that connection also allows there to be constructive criticism. You have to be open to responses, open to feedback. Everything can't be taken negatively. When you come across something that you see can be improved, sharing that experience, sharing that knowledge. So yes, connections are important. And without those connections, it's hard to innovate. One person can't do all of the work. It's so important for us to share the knowledge, share the wisdom that we've gained, which is why diversity is so important, which is why inclusion is so important, because you need those different experiences. And guess what? Your customers are, or should be, worldwide. You're trying to attract people from different experiences, different lifestyles. Your product, your service should not have exclusions. Now, it's different when you're making it and you have someone in mind, but it should not be excluding anyone. Connections are necessary for when you have to step out of the office, when you have a sick family member or a health emergency. You want to have that connection with someone who can step in for you. You also want that connection for someone who can back you up, who can support you, who can be by your side, who can say, no, I vouch for this person. Connections are important. On the leadership side as well, if you are not trying to build a connection, if you're not trying to get to know your staff, then you're hindering your own progress. Why is that? It's because they're the ones who's doing the work. Your staff is the one who's touching the product or the service. They are front facing to your customers. So how they feel is being reflected upon to your customers. And if that customer experience isn't well, are they going to be returning? You want your staff to be able to have that open communication with you so that they can tell you, okay, here's where our bottleneck is. If we improve this, then we're able to sell more, or we're able to service more customers. But if they don't feel comfortable speaking to you and having an open conversation and knowing that you're going to do right by that conversation or having those connections, it reduces turnover for our business leaders. Even if an employee does not currently see a position open for them to work at, for them to step into a higher role, they will stay there a little longer if that environment is conducive for them. If they have good relationships there, if the mission is clear and being acted upon, they will stay there. So it will reduce turnover. It will increase customer satisfaction because now they care about what they're doing. They'll put more emphasis in it. They'll go to bat for you just as you would go to bat for them. That's what connection is. It's not really pulling apart. It's bringing together. It's bringing together, and that's what we need more of within the workplace and outside of it. But these bonds cannot be created. This line of connection cannot be created if you're found untrustworthy. Even if it hasn't been communicated to you, your actions speak louder than your words. So you can say all you want, but if they've seen you act in a totally different way than your words are projecting, they're not going to trust you. There is no connection. They can't build a connection. Do you understand? If there's favoritism, you see, connections can also be deemed unproductive. I'll put it like that, unproductive. And let me tell you about my experience. I finally had a chance to build a connection, and I was with a company for some years, and I built a connection with my coworker. He ended up getting sick to where he had a stroke. And so one side of his body was not working as well as the other. And so I had this connection and I cared and I understood what the needs were. And I knew what would help him be productive and feel more comfortable. I would come in and bring him coffee. I would make sure his setup was good. If he needed anything, I would come and check on him during work. And it's not like it's taking away any of my productivity. It's caring for someone. It's making someone smile. It's letting them know that they're thought of. But with me interacting with him and smiling and laughing, because we were like neighbors. We were in cubes. And so we were close together. So we can work and have conversations. But see, that connection was not welcomed by management. Why would you not want that? Especially if no one else is doing it, and it's not a distraction to anyone else, no one else is doing it. How could you be against helping someone in need? Being supportive. How can you be against that? And so what did they do? They separated us like children. They moved me to one whole other side and him to another. And so, yes, it made it more difficult throughout the day to check on him and see if he was okay. But in the morning, I still did my routine of bringing coffee or water, seeing if he needed anything from the printer. I mean, little small things like that. When your staff see you and your actions are against unity, against problem solving, against your own team, they can't respect you as much as you want them to. They can't. They can't respect that. So you can't get upset when they don't want to socialize after hours or come to your birthday celebration in the lunchroom or eat your pizza. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. So connections are important. But at the same time, there's some boundaries that people cannot cross. Connections can also be looked down upon if they're preventing something else. What do I mean by that? Connections can be frowned upon if it looks like it's excluding someone else. But that's where understanding comes in. You can't go by optics. Have you approached them? I had a previous episode about approachability. Are you approachable? Have you tried? Have you tried to engage, or are you just going off of optics? It's very important. Connections. Let me say this one as well, because this one definitely hits my funny bone. When a manager has a connection with someone else so strong that you cannot approach them you can't approach them honestly. You can't approach them without it being held against you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When you're unable to move up the chain of command. So let's say you're facing some challenges with the current manager and you want to take it up a level, but you can't because they have a strong connection. What do you do then? Do you skip? Or do you still go to that next level? Here comes the approachability aspect again. I mean, these are real life situations here. These are real experiences. These are human experiences. This is what happens within and beyond the workplace. And that's why I really enjoy this podcast, is because I am connecting the two. I am saying that, hey, if we are able to identify the challenges in the workplace and resolve them collectively at the human level, and I say workplace because there's so many differences there. There's more differences there than there is in our personal life or in our home life. And so if we can identify those challenges and resolve them with people from all of these different backgrounds, all these different religions and demographics and income levels and statuses and just everything, ethnicities, we can change the world. We can change the world. By resolving these issues in the workplace, we're able to create that harmony in the workplace, and it permeates to our customers and to our vendors and the people we're on the phone with, our investors. We take it home. Do you understand? When you've had a stressful day at work, dealing with people who you're not connected to, or connections have been broken, or respect has been broken, or lines have been crossed, and you bring it home, you're not bringing home positivity. But if we resolve those issues in the workplace and we bring it home, we're bringing home peace. And then they take it to school. They take it to their jobs, your family, your children, your neighbors. This is the goal. This is the goal. So it's important for you to get connected. And it doesn't have to be on all levels. Get connected. You're also unable to establish connections if there's favoritism or your prior moves were dirty. If you've been seen doing some dirty work, I don't know how else to say that. If people have seen you lie on someone else or throw someone under the rug unfairly, you can't be trusted, so there can't be a real connection. So where do you go from there? A conversation needs to be had. If that's acceptable to the other person. I'm all about conflict prevention while everyone else is focused on conflict resolution. No, let's prevent the problem. How can we prevent conflict? What are your thoughts on that? Let's not wait until the conflict happens for it to be resolved. How do we prevent it? Let me tell you how we prevent Kim. Karma, intuition, mindfulness. Treat people how you want to be treated. If karma is what goes out comes back, and I'm not speaking on a spiritual level, I'm speaking on a moral level. The golden rule, if you treat people how you want to be treated, that is conflict prevention. Intuition. Use your intuition. Let your intuition be your guide. What do you feel? Do you feel something that makes someone unapproachable? Have you tested it? Should you test it? What I'm saying is we have to use all of our senses. Maybe now is not a good time to approach someone. Mindfulness. Everyone has different lived and unlived experiences. It's so important that we have empathy, extend grace, get understanding and clarity. So let's say you do treat someone how you want to be treated, but hey, they don't prefer that. That's where the mindfulness comes in. That's where the communication comes in. And they say, oh no, I wouldn't do it like this. I prefer this. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. So now you can treat them how they want to be treated. But it's getting to that understanding, it's having that communication, it's having that connection. And that's what KimUnity Solutions is all about. It's about creating solutions that connect us, regardless of race, religion, incomes, marital status, gender, preference, geographical location. It's about that connection that connects all of the other. It's like a thread. And it connects all of these other communities based on these simple things: karma, intuition, mindfulness. That's how we create positive connections and harmony and unity, just on a common level, at the human level. That's what we're trying to get to, the human level. And this is totally different from human resources. Totally different from human resources. because resources really doesn't care about the humans. They only care about the company. They only care about the company. I'm speaking at the human level. How can we get along? How can we prevent conflict? That's what it's all about. It's time for you all to get connected. I hope you all have enjoyed this episode. It's about professional connections. And as a summary, I understand that some of us want to just get in the job and get out. Get in, go in, do the work, and go home. But connections are important. And boundaries are allowed. You don't have to let people in your personal business. They don't have to know all the details of your personal life. Yes, you can create boundaries, but those connections are important. They are important within the workplace and beyond the workplace. You never know what resources they have that can help you. They may know a babysitter that you need. They may know a doctor that can help your family member. They may know how to get if you've told them, your small business off the ground. You never know. They may be able to use your graphic designs that you do on the side. And again, it depends on what you are allowing them to know. Connections are important. It allows us to innovate. It allows us to share ideas. It allows us to practice humanism so that when we get off of work, we can put into practice what we've been doing inside the workplace. It helps with turnover. It helps with customer satisfaction. Connections help with growth, with getting you to the next level, with constructive criticism that pushes you to improve upon what you've already done. Connections are important. And while connections aren't always seen as positive to management, that's something that you need to work on. Managers, business leaders, the more comfortable your staff are in their environment, the more productive they are. The more productive they are, the more profits you receive. It affects your bonuses, and it positively impacts the workplace environment. It impacts your customers, your vendors, your investors, your shareholders. So don't block the camaraderie that your staff is trying to make in the workplace. It makes them more productive. What you don't want them is for them to be miserable in the workplace, and then they're taking shortcuts and they're not giving you the insight that would promote or bring about positive change within your department. So always keep that in mind. Give out what you want to receive. Give out what you want to receive. I am your host, Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experiences. I hope you all have enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to you being back with us again next week. You all have a blessed one.